most people grow out of it. A lot of people say that most of the side effects that they have stop after about 6 months on the medication. So on one hand, I'm happy that they will hopefully lessen. On the other hand, like 183 days of feeling like this, I don't know if I can go team it for 6 months. Hello! It has been a little bit since I updated. It's almost like I feel like I've been in this like holding pattern. Like not exactly certain how things are going and not want to admit some things are not going well. Other things are going well, which is great. Okay, hold on. You guys have to come this way with me. That looks awesome. Light from the fish tank. We have to feed them. Okay, we're gonna turn the light on outside. I have a package. Oh my goodness. Just a little too big for my hands. Ugh, but it's tiny. Okay, we'll take our package. Okay, let's feed the fishes. They will be super happy with being fed. Okay, guys can sit up here. That looks so spooky. How fun. Okay, the point of the video today is we're going to talk about Xolair. So, Xolair is a, for me, once a month injection. And it's actually 2 injections. The amount of meds that you have to have at one time is apparently too much for 1 injection site. Oh man. And so you have to have, so it's split into 2 doses. So 1 goes in this arm and 1 goes in that arm. That looks really spooky. How fun. Okay, here are the fishes. They're very excited with their dinner. They always are. I love our fish tank. It's so neato. Okay, they're super excited now. Okay, so we're doing the injections every 4 weeks. And I know some other people that have had Xolair, and for the same kinds of reasons as I have. I wonder what I was lacking. It's for my pharmaceutical company, like my IV supplies. We'll open it here in a second. So the other people that I know of that are getting Xolair for the same kind of reasons that I am, it seems like we all have, I'm gonna sit right here so I can get my meds. We all have some kind of reaction to the meds. A lot of people that have like really bad mast cell have anaphylactic reaction to it, which is super scary and can come out of nowhere and can happen on the first bout of it. They can happen on the 40th, you know, injection time. So that's scary. So I do have to have EpiPens with me all the time now. I'm using a brand called AviQ, which is who my allergist recommended. And you know what we need to do? I want to know exactly what day I had the injections. Thankfully, we have the handy dandy book here. Wrong zipper. Okay. So, Julie. Ouch. I wondered why I wasn't finding anything like what I wanted. Okay. Xolair was on 9/20, which was a Friday. Okay, so 9/20. Now let's go see how many days it's been since I had it. Let's look at a calendar. That is going to be a very non-helpful calendar. So, 1 week, 2 weeks. So 2 weeks tomorrow. So I'm making this video on 10/3, which is a Thursday. And okay, so 2 weeks. I had no reaction during the shots or directly afterwards. My adrenaline was kind of through the roof because I was so worried that I was gonna have a reaction to it, because so many people with my conditions have reactions to it. But obviously everybody's different, everybody reacts differently to medication. And thankfully I had no troubles. I also did infusion the night before to make sure that I had extra hydration in my body. I took Benadryl and ibuprofen before I had the injections to try to cut down any, you know, injection site rashes or any of that stuff. I didn't want to deal with anything that I didn't have to. So I felt, oh, and I had a horrible migraine the day that I had them too. And so I had migraine balm in my system on top of all the rest of the medication. It was a lot of meds in my system. So no problem when I had the injections. My arms were sore for a couple days afterwards. Like then they do it like in the back of your arm. And so they were sore for a couple days, but just like injection site soreness. I mean, I get soreness for days after my Ajovy shots in my legs. And sometimes those will bruise up. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. Okay, I'm gonna turn you this way. I have to get a glass so you can take meds. Oh, I think you can only see like my elbow at the moment. So, I have just been kind of, you know, keep on keeping on. That didn't work at all. We sure did that. There we go. I made a mess. Oopsie doodles. I got water everywhere on that one. Take two. Okay. So no real injection site problems, pain and whatnot, and the shots hurt, but they had warned me beforehand how sore, I guess, that they could be, that the injections actually hurt. With all the rest of the pain that I'm in all the time from feeding tubes and all of the muscle problems and all that. I don't know, I didn't think the shots were all that bad. So that's something. And I looked up the side effects on the medication beforehand, because obviously I wanted to have some kind of an idea, you know, what I could be up for. Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have, you know what's hard about side effects for medications? Not knowing exactly which medication it comes from. Like, that's one. Could it be from a medication that you're taking, that you've been taking for like evers, and all of a sudden you're having a reaction? Are you having a reaction to a new medication? Which is normally what I tend to believe, because I never add more than one medication at one time. And I guess the other part of it is I always kind of wonder, like, is it because of some kind of horrible combo platter between a medication that you were already on and a new one that you just added? I don't know. They don't call it practicing medicine for nothing here. Okay, Xolair is one of my Hail Mary medications that it's been a long road getting here to try it, and we're hoping, because of all of the mast cell reactions that I have, that Xolair can try to help calm everything down. So this is all of my horrible GI problems. This is the horrible rashes that I get out of nowhere, which we now have a name for, chronic idiopathic urticaria. So long time getting here, have very high hopes for this medication. So for the first week and a half or so on the meds, I decided to put my head in the sand. I didn't want to be aware of side effects. I didn't want to acknowledge that I was having side effects, but I very clearly am having side effects. More meds. So I have been trying to keep track, I guess, of the side effects. And when I really gave myself permission to think about side effects, I have quite a list, unfortunately. So it's like a few minutes before 7:30. This is my third round of a handful of medication during the day, and I had infusions today, and I have a whole nother round of medication that I take right before bedtime. So I am now taking medication 4 different times a day. Lordy, my side hurts. I'm ready to be done for the day. I worked all day today. I worked from 9 until 6:30, I guess. And it seems like I can work about 4 hours before my body's like, what are you doing? And it's just frustrating. I'm so used to being able to work how long I want to, not how long I can. And it's so hard to get everything in my day shoved into the time that my body's able to do it. So then I'm staying longer at work to get stuff done because it's like, I have to get it done. There's no other option. And then, which makes my issues worse and I hurt worse, and such a horrible two-sided problem. What are you gonna do? Hold on, last round. Ugh. That's the worst when there's 2 in there that just like, start dissolving, you know, like as soon as it hits your tongue. And of course they taste horrible. Like, why can't they make them taste like strawberries or cinnamon or something good? Blech. Super gross. Okay, we are done over here. Let me close my door. Okay, so let's go talk side effects. I put the full list on my phone so that I could sit down and look at the list while I talk to you guys about them. And it's like, I so really wanted to just ignore it and not even, oh man. Oh man. Okay, let's see if I can put you here and you can see me. Okay, side effects. So I have been trying to put my head in the sand. I just haven't wanted to deal with it or acknowledge the fact that I'm having side effects off of it. So I finally started looking up. Have you guys ever noticed that when you look up a medication, like specifically you're looking up side effects, and like you tend to get the same like little bitty list of side effects, and then when you start having like whacked out crazy stuff happen, and then you're like, well, it wasn't on the list, so you know, I bet maybe it's something else going on or whatever. And then you start digging more and you actually start looking up like FDA reports and like case studies and all of that stuff, and then magically like there's this whole other list of side effects that they don't even want to talk to you about. That's frustrating. Okay, this is going to be in no particular order, and this is all of the things that I am experiencing now with Xolair. So first one is nasal passage swelling. I do not breathe through my mouth. That does not work for me, especially because of the dry mouth and all that being so bad. And so I always breathe through my nose. And so I've been very aware of it in the last week, that like it literally feels like I want to like hold my nostrils open like to get a good breath, because it's just, they're not the same size as they normally are. So nasal passage swelling. I have had a sore throat, but I tend to get that when I'm dehydrated, and I'm having GI problems at the moment. Big shocker there. And so the more dehydrated I am, the more my sore throat hurts. It doesn't feel like it's closing up or anything like that, like an anaphylactic reaction. Obviously, I am very aware of it because of my nasal passages doing the swelling part. Nausea. I am a card-carrying member of the I'm Nauseous Every Day Club, which is super frustrating. But this nausea is like weird. Like I have this weird feeling in my throat, and when I get nauseous, I can puke because I have like opened my mouth weird. Like I've said something, like I just opened my mouth to talk, and I could literally get sick because it's a very, very different nausea. It's almost like gag reflexes. Like, added into it. That one's a weird one. It's funny when like you have, there's my nighttime meds, I already took them. When totally ruined my train of thought, which is not hard to do right now. Sore throat, nauseous, gag reflex. And it's like 2 brain cells fighting for connection right now. So brain fog has been an amazingly awful problem. I think it's just the rest of it adding up. And I have insomnia. I've had insomnia I haven't slept well since November of 2015. So I am 1 month shy of 4 years having insomnia. I can't get to sleep. I can't stay asleep. It is incredibly frustrating, and I didn't think it could get worse. It's really funny. Yeah, I didn't think it could get worse. It is so bad right now that I think I'm getting something like 2 hours of sleep a night, and that's not even 2 hours like in a row. It's like 20 minutes here, I'll wake up and I'll be awake for like 30 minutes, and then I'll go back to sleep and I'll sleep for another 15 minutes, and then I wake up again. It is awful. Like, it has turned me into a zombie, which is another reason I'm having so much trouble at work, because I just can't concentrate because I'm so tired. So insomnia was one of the side effects that I had originally looked up the list for Xolair, and it's not listed, like it's not a thing. So here is a hack, just in case anybody needs it. For weird side effects that don't show up in the normal list of side effects, you put the name of the drug and the side effect that you're having. So like for me, it was Xolair and insomnia. So when you put it like that, or you can put Xolair and insomnia side effect, anything like that, and then you start getting all sorts of other reports and case studies, and oh my gosh, you get all sorts of stuff back. So with what I actually looked up last night, insomnia for Xolair side effect wise is like 94% female, which I thought was really interesting, and only like 2.5% of people that take Xolair get that side effect. So super special snowflake, amazeballs. Now insomnia is horrible. Migraines. So if you're new here, I have had migraines for years. I have headaches every single day. Migraines, I was having something close to like 3 weeks of migraines every month. And so I have been doing Botox shots for months and months and months and months now. I have just added Ajovy into it, which is a once a month migraine medication that's just a shot that I can give myself. And with the Ajovy adding into it, I have had the first kind of headache relief that I have had ever. It has been so nice. And so being hit with migraines almost every day since I got the Xolair is really disappointing and really debilitating. Oh my gosh, they are worse the longer that the day gets. And what's different about these headaches, migraines, than the migraines that I normally get is usually I can lay down with a migraine, cover up all my eyes, you know, no light, any of that stuff, and it will calm down. Obviously with medication added into it too, 3rd level medication. But with these, it's even worse when I lay down. It's so awful. So those are hitting me at work. Those are hitting me as soon as I lay down to try to go to sleep. They stick around while I'm trying to sleep. So nothing is really working in the fix the insomnia category. Left abdominal pain. I don't know why it's contributing to that, but with my... So I have a G-tube so that I can actually drain my stomach if I need to, and I have a J-tube that I can feed into. when I had my G-tube surgery, I had a horrible complication afterwards, and they cut nerves, and between where my G-tube is and my left hip, there was like this line like that connected them, and any problem that I have with my G-tube literally feels like it is ripping the muscle off of my left hip. So once I had my J-tube put in, it severed the connection between my G-tube and my hip, but reestablished the connection between my J-tube and my hip. So I have had left abdominal pain, oh my gosh, for like a year and a half now. It's really not a good time. And it still feels like the muscles are just ripping off of my left hip. It is so painful, and for whatever reason, since I got the Xolair, it's been even worse. Like, it's back to the original complication. It is awful, and like my core is so damaged at this point because of all of the surgeries and all of the GI complications on a normal basis. Like, my muscle control is weird. I have a very hard time like sitting up or laying down. Rolling over can be a problem. That sounds funny. It made me sound like a dog. So a lot of problems with my core and muscle strength and all of that. So anything that makes any of my GI problems or complications worse is so awful. Okay, so arms and legs. My arms and legs hurt all the time. My joints hurt, like shoulders, elbows, wrists, every joint in my fingers, every joint in my feet, my knees, my ankles, my shoulders have been slipping out like all the time. Like this one normally slips out, but like I've had this one slip out a couple times, so they just hurt all the time. I'm having muscle problems. I'm having muscle spasms. I am having Charlie horsing. All that's been horrible. So I've had muscle problems for forever with all the rest of the stuff that I deal with, and so I'm on muscle relaxers, and they're not even cutting it right now, but I can't take any more because of the constipation side effect from muscle relaxers. So I am just trying to get by at this point. Like, that's it. That's all I'm trying to do. So the arms and legs pain, super awful. And it happens when I'm laying down. It happens when I'm sitting, standing. Stretching doesn't seem to be helping. The muscle relaxers help a little bit, but it's been really not a good time. My back pain has been awful too. There's two spots, like I've got arthritis along my entire spine. Most of my major joints have arthritis now. Degenerative disc disease, and it's called something else. But effectively it's arthritis. And my back, I have two sections of my back. I have one like right in the middle of my back, like all the way through the middle, but in my back. And if I stand for too long, if I lean in a weird direction, whatever, it hurts so bad. And laying down, it takes forever for it to calm down. And then I have another set in my back that is, it's like my lower back, kind of like right above where my hips are, but like right in the center of my back, both sides of my spine. And I really think so much of that is the fact that my core is so damaged at the moment, and my back is trying to compensate for all of that. And so when that happens and like the pain hits, it literally feels like my back is just going to break. Like it literally feels like one of these days I'm just gonna like pitch over a little too far or turn a little bit, you know, too much to one direction, and my whole spine is just gonna snap in half. Like, it's so painful. Okay, left abdomen pain, arms and legs pain, back pain, hips. My left hip I have had problems with for years. that it just kind of slips out of joint. I tend to have a whole lot more subluxations than full dislocations. So subluxations are just that your joint isn't stable, and so it moves around where it's supposed to be, and it'll kind of like slip out, but it slips back in on its own. My hips have gotten so much worse in the last 2 weeks. So my left hip, I almost always have to put my left hip back in place when I wake up in the morning. It's just something about how I'm laying. So I've had consistent trouble with my left hip. So my left hip is worse. It's slipping out several times a day. And my right hip, which I literally never have trouble with, in the past 2 weeks, I'm now having trouble with my right hip. I don't know what I said the first time. And so I'm having to put that one back in when I get up in the morning. And I keep noticing it at work, because I'll be sitting in my office chair and then all of a sudden, like, something feels really weird. And so I have to, like, so if your knees are sitting like this, like, I have to put my knee in, like, you know, just kind of like turn my hips so that my knee is pointing more in the middle, and then I have to lean over, and when I lean over and I have to try to like relax my hip, which is so ridiculously hard when you know it's out of place, and you try to relax and you lean forward and you hear this huge crack, and it cracks back into where it's supposed to be. So I'm now having to bonus round it, and I'm doing it with both of my hips during the day. That has been so not a good time. I have had, what's it called, vertigo, so I get really, really dizzy lately. I've had about 4 really bad episodes that, thankfully, I have not been driving when I've had the episodes. It normally happens like when I'm sitting down, which is a little strange, but I'm sitting down, and it's happened at work like 3 times. I've almost fallen out of my office chair every time it happens, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, like, the whole world starts moving, and I have to like put my hands down like on my desk, you know, like to hold me, that I know, like, I know I'm not moving, I know I'm not, but oh my gosh, it really feels like you are. And so super, super dizzy. It kicks in the nausea on top of all the rest of it, and it just, I have to sit there and breathe deep, and a couple times I've had to put my head down because I thought I was going to be sick. And so the dizzy has been something special. That's not one that I've really ever dealt with, so that one's not really fun at all. I've had an incredibly fast heart rate, so it's almost like my POTS is feeding off the side effects of the Xolair. And so the other night, and it's awful when I lay down, like awful, which is normally not so bad, because with all the POTS stuff, the POTS is worse when I stand up. And yes, it's worse when I stand up, but it's bad when I'm laying down now. So the other night, I'm laying in bed, not sleeping, trying to sleep, and it's like, I just feel my heart, and it's just racing, and I finally took it. So I am laying down, and it's over 100, and just, that's so frustrating. So it's like my body's using more energy, and I'm getting less sleep, and I'm tolerating food and feeds less because of all of the problems. Trust me, it's been special. I've had a funny cough, which isn't real surprising. I think that's kind of one of the normal side effects, because some people take Xolair for asthma problems. My asthma is so not normally a problem. I will get bronchospasms, saying it's bronchiospasms, that it feels like somebody like has a bear hug like around my chest and is squeezing me tight, and I can't take a full breath. So I've had a weird cough, but the spasms have been better, which has been great. And one other thing that has been better is I think I've only had 1 rash since I got the Xolair, which is really why I'm taking it. Like, the overarching FDA approved, my insurance gave the thumbs up for, because I get so many unexplained rashes. So I had 1 rash on my chest, and it's funny that I say that because I feel like I'm about to get another one. it just gets this feeling when it happens. So yeah, so it feels like I have another one coming, but I've also been accessed for 3 days now, I guess. And the longer that I'm accessed, the more I tend to react to the Tegaderm. And it just makes me so itchy, and it's like my body just freaks out and here, have a rash, you know, because you don't have enough problems going on. The only other issue that I have noticed is I'm getting angry. Kind of comes out of nowhere, and there's some funky side effect that they have listed like on the regular list, and it's like that you feel manic or something like that. Not something that I have experience with, but I can tell you that I have a whole heck of a lot of no patience at the moment. And yeah, like I just like I feel like I'm more snappy, like especially at work. It's all coupled with the no patience, and if somebody's not doing their job, and I don't have a lot of patience to handhold and whatnot. Like I need people to just, I need them to do their job so I don't have to do it for them, and I don't want to come back, you know, like come behind them and make sure that, you know, it's done right and clean up messes, and I have enough on my plate right now. So that is my gigantic list of side effects. Something that did make me feel better when I was looking all of this up the past couple weeks is most people grow out of it. A lot of people say that most of the side effects that they have stop after about 6 months on the medication. So on one hand, I'm happy that they will hopefully lessen. On the other hand, like 183 days of feeling like this, I don't know if I can go team it for 6 months. So I'm very much hoping that I will be one of the lucky ones and things will settle down more faster. That's really what I'm hoping. Oh my god, my left hip hurts so bad. So that's it. It's been rocky to say the least. I have very high hopes for the medication yet. I have not at all lost my hope that it will really help. And talking to my allergist and some of her staff, you know, with some of the other people that have the things that I have, you know, how long does it take for them to really notice like a good benefit of it? And I was like, 1 shot? Like I really wanted to, like I wanted it to be 1 shot, and they were like, no, like normally sometime around 3 or 4 is where a lot of people really see the benefits, which is about what I dealt with the rounds of Botox for my migraines. So fingers and toes and everything else crossed that this will really help. Still high hopes with it, and I will drag you guys along with the journey and all the good stuff. So thank you very much. Thank you for all of the support. Thank you for all the encouragement. Thank you for all of the encouraging texts and messages and pictures, and I very much appreciate all of you guys. So I love you, and like and subscribe and share with your friends and all that good stuff, and I will see you guys in a little bit. Okay, bye!